Now let's get back to lesson 10. Now we want to collect static files. Django lesson 10, we are collecting static files. We have been dealing with static files, and then now we want to do something called collect static, how to manage static files. But before we start how to manage static files, I want us to get high quality images for our project. So we go to our browser here, use Google Chrome in case you have it in your computer or any other browser. Now we talked about this one in the previous lesson, how to download high quality images. So we follow that criteria, go to images, we are downloading laptop here. Go to tools, launch, then choose a quality image among those ones that we have there. We have that laptop, you can see quality is very high, 1200 pixels by 1200 pixels. Right click, save images, then save image in the downloads folder. You can save it anywhere you want. Let's download on desktop computer. We go to when you choose this one at this point, you have not selected high quality, this is low quality. Go to launch under tools, then choose one from these ones. The ones that populate here will be high quality. Let me choose this one. This one is nice, showing the CPU, the monitor and keyboard, and also mouse. So you can see the quality is okay. Wait for it to load, don't just download it direct. If your internet is very slow, you have to wait for it to load. Right click, save images. Let's also get a printer. We want to replace the images that we used previously, and we want to replace them with quality images, so that as we proceed we should be seeing images which are clear. Remember, the ones that we used were not clear. So we go to printer. We use this type of printer, Canon G2411. I love this printer, it's a very nice one. Then you right click as usual, save image as, then click save. Now you have the 3 images downloaded. You can add as many images as you want, but for my case I'm going to start with 3 images. These images I have not considered the PNG. I've just downloaded the images. Now let me cut these images and paste them. I cut the images and then I'm going to paste them where they are supposed to be in my project, and that is not my site. It's not my site. We are going to have them in main. This is where we have static files and images inside there. So we shall paste them here, and then we are going to delete the old ones. We'll delete the old ones. You have laptop. We shall delete it and then rename the new one. See, we have that laptop, and this is the other one that you have downloaded now, which is high quality. The other one was not high quality, so we are going to get rid of it. Just click it and then delete. Rename this one to laptop, because already in our VS Code we coded for laptop. Delete also printer and rename the new one that you have downloaded. Rename it printer. Also delete desktop and then rename the new one that we have there, and rename it desktop. Then also we can remove this one. This one you don't need it now. So we have the 3 images there, the images which are very high quality. We can go back to our project, and then we can open the project first, so that we can see. Open it with VS Code, and then when it opens we are going to we are going to run the server to see how it appears. Now we want to go to collect static from here. Already we have corrected that. We have done a good job in correcting the images. Now the project is already loading. So Let's wait for the project to load. Now it is already open. It's taking some time here. It's taking some time. For some computers is going to be very fast. Now collecting static file. Now static files are files that we placed in the static folder, which include images, JavaScript and CSS. The reason why we collect static file is that it's useful when there are multiple Django apps within the site. When we have multiple Django apps within the site, as we are going to be creating more apps, collect static is very important. Collect static collects static files from all the apps in one place so that it can be served in the production environment. During development, if you use django.contrib.static files, as you have been using in this project, let's see this one. We have been using this django.contrib.static files, and then we have a static root here, which has a static URL that has already been specified. So you can see static files are those ones. Now this will be done automatically by running server when debug is true. When debug is set to be true, now the static files will be collected automatically if you are using django.contrib.static files, and that is when debug is set to be true. This method is grossly inefficient and probably insecure, so it is unsuitable for production. Now what you're supposed to do now in this case, on the settings.py, we are going to add this code there. We are going to set a static, we have the static URL, but we are going to set a static files directory where the static files should be collected to. So in this area under settings.py, just below where you have static URL, and now here is where we are going to type our static root, where we are going to specify the static files directory. The static files directory is supposed to be we use os.path.join os.path.join. Type this one into brackets base directory. So we are joining static file directory with the base directory, which is a static, which is we call the base directory is already static, as you have seen up there. Static URL, the base directory is static. So if you get an error of OS, import OS at the top. You can correct that one there by importing OS at the top. Then OS is supposed to appear there. Another thing that you're supposed to add here, you're supposed to type static root. You have specified the directory, then it's static root. Where is supposed to be static root is now supposed to be os.path.join, os.path.join into brackets, then base directory, and then base directory is always static. That is the base directory that you have. Yeah, that's supposed to be written like that, the static root and also static files directory. This one we are doing it so that when you we run the collect static command, all static files are going to be collected together. Now this one is done for media files uploaded. This one is now static root and the static files directory. This one will be done for media files uploaded by the user. For For media files uploaded by the user, we use media. This one was just for static files that are designed for the project. Now for those ones that are going to be uploaded by users, when your users are using the website, they are supposed to be also directed somewhere where they can be fetched together from all ends on the Django app. So we design a media URL. Apart from the static URL, we also create a media URL and set media root directory. Also we set media root where we are going to use os.path.join, then into brackets. The base directory is still going to remain as now this one is not static, this is going to be media. So media files are going to be under media, and then static files are going to be in static. Media files are just files that are going to be uploaded by the user or for the user. So make sure you Control S to save your work, and don't forget to save the changes. There's something else you are going also to add, and this is what you are supposed to do in the settings.py. There's something else that you are supposed to add to the so this one we have done that one. The other thing that I'm talking about is on the urls.py main, and you're supposed to add this one here. You're supposed to already we have from Django.contrib import and main, we have import path include, we have now import settings. Now we are going to add this code. We already have and mean and the path and also include. So we are going to also add the static files, should be important also from Django dot configuration, then dot conf, and then let me check this one from Django dot conf dot sorry, let me correct this one. We want to import for the static files from Django.conf import static, and then on the next line from Django.conf import static. My machine is hanging a bit, just a short while. I'm going to type this one. Just some view interruptions here and there. Now we are back here. Now this one we are importing settings first. So from Django.configuration we are going to import settings. The settings that we already typed there, we typed settings. This one we ended here. We are going to import them and the URLs so that they can be functional. Then also we import from Django the import from Django dot configuration dot URLs. I also import from URLs and dot static, then import from Django configuration URL static, import static. So static is important from Django dot configuration dot URLs dot static. Then from Django.conf import settings. Then at the end of the URL patterns we add the static roots, and also you can add media root or static root, and depending on the settings.py that you installed there, that you coded there. So in this case we are going to use settings.media root, settings.media URL, at root. This is for the URL patterns, the media URL. You can also specify the static URL if you want, but if you use media URL, I'm going to use the document root equals settings dot static, and then like that. If you use media URL, this is what you are supposed to type here, and document root equals settings dot media root. Also, if you use static URL, I'm going to use document root is equals to settings dot static URL. So this case document is going to be equals to document is underscore root is equals to settings dot media, and that is underscore root, settings dot media underscore root. So if you are using media URL, then you are going to use settings dot media root. If you are using static URL, you are going to use media dot static root. Save changes. Make sure you save the changes. Save the changes. Then once done, let's get back to the notes. Then at the terminal, now you are going to run python manage.py collect static to complete this. Using the collect static command, Django looks for all static files in your apps and collects them wherever you told it to. That is the static root. In this case, we are going to we have told it to go to media root, but we can also tell it to go to static root depending on how we want our Django our static files to be collected. So this command will tell Django to go through all your project folders, look for static files, and store them in one place. We defined in the settings. This is very efficient, especially if you are deploying your site to production. When you run the command collect static, you should see a new folder called static created in the root of your project folder. Then you can change this location to something else by editing the static root setting in your project settings.py file. Yes. Then as you can see, we can now do that to see what is going to happen. So type at the terminal python manage.py, then collect static, and type this one, then we run it. We click enter to see what's going to happen. Click enter, and you see this end something is adding itself there. We have static has been added there, and then let me use a new terminal, that old terminal, but we already have collect static has already worked. We have static there with and main images, main CSS, and main JavaScript. Python manage.py. We type python manage.py collect static, then this will overwrite the existing files. So already the static files have been collected into one folder. So if I continue now, I'm going to overwrite and then repaste them again, recollecting them. When you go to admin, you're going to see all files are there, images are there, CSS, and also in JavaScript. So all those static files that we had in the static folder here have been collected in one folder, the folder that we have there called static. That is where all files, if we had several apps, then This means all the files, the static files, could be there. So here I tap yes to continue, and then that one is already done. So your project will probably also have static assets that aren't tied to a particular app. In addition to using static / directory inside your apps, you can define a list of directories, that is static file directories, in your settings file, where Django will also look for static files. For example, static file directory, as I have said before, as I have typed there, I have already shown you that when you go to the main app, I'm looking for the settings of TPI. This one, you see we have defined where Django is supposed to look for the static files. So let's also go to serving static files during development. If your static URL is defined as a static root, and the following snippet to your URLs. This one, as I have said, if you are using static, then it's going to be static URL. If you are using media, it's going to be media root from the document settings. And note this helper function works only in debug mode and only if given prefix is local, that is static, and not a URL. For example, when you are deploying, you will need to use a URL, not a local one. So during development, we use media root. You can use upload any media files from media root using the django.views.static serve view. This is not suitable for production use. For example, if your media URL is defined as media, you can do this by adding the following snippet to your URL configuration. That is the static root, which is settings to the media URL, and then document setting will be the media root. And then we have completed our lesson for collecting static files. For further questions, you can comment below. Those who did not get this one, because now we are going to a different lesson. After this, we are now going to go backend. We are done with we are done with the static files, and also much of the front end that is not reliant on the backend. We have already talked about it. Now we are going to be talking about backend in the next lesson. Backend is where we are going to be looking at the admin site. We are also going to be looking at the database, how to connect to a database. We already have a database, as you are going to see, but we are not going to be using that one, as I'm going to explain later. So we have already done that. Collect static is very important when you're using Django. Do not ignore the collect static command. So python manage.py run server. Let me run server to see how my project looks like, because I have not already run server. There is something that we did about the images. Let me see. When you run server, follow that link there. It is going to take you to your browser direct. You can go to your browser, and then you are going to see the images. Let me reload. The images did not refresh here. When you refresh, you are going to see the images now coming out very clearly. The images are coming out very clear. Although I did not use PNG images, so you'll see the size also varies. And later I will also show you how to resize the images to fit in the container, div container, the slideshow div container. It must be with a specific size that the images fit without shifting. So when you look at the other tabs, shop and about, conduct, they don't have the slideshow, because we put that slideshow in the home tab only, in the home page. So that one is done, and this is also done about the static files. That is CSS, JavaScript, images, how to add that, how to deal with all that. That one is finished. So next lesson is coming soon. I'll be collecting the lessons, then I bring them to you when they are ready. The lesson 11, was lesson 10. With this knowledge now, you are able to display a simple web page. But now we are going to the backend, because a website must have a backend to be complete. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel to be able to view more of the upcoming videos. Thank you. God bless you.